What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ravi Wadden, and in today's video, I want to talk about the lease deal on the Tesla Cybertruck. More specifically, I want to talk about whether it makes more sense to lease a Tesla Cybertruck or whether it makes more sense to finance or purchase your Tesla Cybertruck. Now, there really isn't a black or white answer to this question, like whether you should lease or buy. But what I found in my research is that it depends on two things. It depends on how long you plan on keeping your Tesla Cybertruck, and it depends on the anticipated depreciation of the Tesla Cybertruck. Now, nobody knows what the depreciation is going to be on these trucks, but if other Tesla models are any indication of what the depreciation is going to be on the Cybertruck, I don't think it's going to be that good. Like, I think depreciation is going to be bad, to be more clear. But anyways, in this video, what we're going to do is, in the first part of this video, we'll head to Tesla's website and we'll take a look at the Tesla Cybertruck lease deal in detail. We'll talk about the mileage, we'll talk about the due at signing amount, all that nitty gritty stuff, and I'll give you lots of helpful tips and tricks along the way to help you save money. In the second part of this video, what we'll do is we'll run my 1.25% rule of leasing on the Tesla Cybertruck. And my 1.25% rule of leasing is just a value metric, right? That helps you determine whether or not a particular lease deal is a good lease deal in terms of value. Like, what's the bang for the buck that you're getting on that lease deal? And then in the third part of this video, what we'll do is we'll compare the monthly finance payments to the monthly lease payments. And, then I'll show you why and help you, I'll help you make an informed decision of whether you should lease this truck or buy this truck. So if that sounds good to you, please be sure to like this video and please be sure to follow or subscribe. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into the computer behind me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the Tesla website. We're just going to click on vehicles and click down here where it says Cybertruck. Now, as you'll be able to see here, we'll go down and click on Order Now. And what you're going to see is a cash option, a lease option, and a finance option. Now, the cash option is what we call the MSRP of this vehicle. We're going to uncheck this box, so we're not including the 5-year gas savings. And you'll see that the MSRP on the all-wheel drive is $79,990. And the Cyber Beast, the MSRP is $99,990. And obviously, if you upgrade the wheels, if you do a different color, the interior color, do the white decor, and if you do the full self-driving, you will pay additional, but these are the base prices for the Tesla Cybertruck. Now, if we click on the lease option, what you're going to do is click on Edit Terms and Savings. And Tesla has a great lease calculator. They made some changes a couple months ago, and this is just fantastic. Now, what you're going to do here is you're going to click on the button where it says Include Estimated Taxes and Fees. And as you can see here, I still have the Include Estimated Gas Savings unchecked. Now, what you're going to see here is that there's a total of $11,239 due at signing. Now, the down payment is going to be $7,500, as you can see right here. And this $11,239 includes this $7,500. Now, what happens is a lot of people see this $7,500 and they just assume that that's going to be their total down payment. But remember, this number, whether it's Tesla or any other manufacturer, whenever they say $7,500 due at signing, or when they say $2,000, $3,000 due at signing, you're not including registration typically, and that can vary state to state. You're not including the taxes that you'd have to pay on rebates, and you're not including other dealer fees and documentation fees and things like that. Now, what I like that Tesla has done is that this $11,239, as you can see, it's about almost $4,000 more than this $7,500, but this $11,239 includes everything. So it includes the registration, the taxes that you'd have to pay on rebates, and any other fees. So that's great, and Tesla makes this very, very intuitive. And as you can see here with the Tesla website, you can also adjust the term, and dynamically the payment will adjust. As you can see, a 24-month term increases the payment to $1,340. And you can also adjust the mileage to your liking. So if you drive 15,000 miles a year, you can get a 15,000 mile a year lease, and the payment adjusts accordingly to $1,155 a month. Now, if you drive 15,000 miles a year, don't get a 10,000 mile a year lease, because what's going to happen is you're going to have to pay the excess mileage penalty on that lease. And as you can see here, it's 25 cents a mile. So It's much cheaper to just get 15,000 miles up front rather than pay this excess mileage penalty of 25 cents a mile. Now you'll also see that lease vehicles are subject to a $395 disposition fee on return. And this simply means that you're going to have to pay $395 when you return your Tesla Cybertruck back to Tesla. And another thing to note here is that you forego the option to buy your car at the end of the lease and must return it to Tesla after the term. Now, this is a big reason why a lot of people don't lease Teslas, is because they don't have the buyout option at the end of the lease term. So when you're planning on buying or leasing, this is something that you should definitely consider. Teslas do not have a buyout option, and essentially every other manufacturer on planet Earth has a buyout option at the end of the lease term, but Tesla does not. Now, what I would like to do in this part of the video is run my 1.25% rule of leasing using this calculator that you see on the screen here. Now, my 1.25% rule of leasing is a simple calculation that I'm going to run here in a few seconds. And anytime you get a number under 1.5%, that's a good lease deal in terms of value. If you get a number under 1.25%, that's a great lease deal in terms of value. And anytime you get a number under 1%, that's an amazing lease deal in terms of value. And anytime you get a number over 1.5%, you typically want to stay away from that lease deal. You know, it doesn't really make a lot of financial sense. You might be better off financing that vehicle instead. But let's go ahead and run the 1.25% rule of leasing for this Tesla. So all you do is take the due at signing amount. We'll take the $11,239 that's due at signing. And what we're going to do is subtract the first month's payment from this amount, which is $1,115, since that's included in the due at signing amount. And I get $10,124. Now what I'm going to do is divide this by 36, since this is a 36-month lease. And you get $281. And then what I'll do is just add the $1,115 monthly payment back in, and you get $1,396. Now, this $1,396 is going to be your effective down payment. So what I've done is just essentially rolled in the total due at signing into the lease payments, and all taxes, fees are accounted for. They're rolled into the lease payments, and this would be your effective monthly payment. So essentially, if you multiply this number by 36, that would be the total cost, or the total amount of all 36 payments. But what you want to do now is take this $1,396 and you want to divide it by the vehicle's MSRP, which, as you can see here, is $79,990, $79,990. And then I'll multiply this by 100 to make it a percentage. And as you can see here, you get 1.74%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, anytime you run this metric or this equation or this calculation and you get a number over 1.5%, that typically isn't a good lease deal in terms of value. But let me show you why I think leasing the Tesla Cybertruck makes a lot of sense, especially if you don't plan on keeping it long term. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what your monthly payment is going to be if you were to finance this Tesla Cybertruck. Now, as you can see here, the monthly payment if you financed it is $1,350, and that includes your taxes and fees, and the amount due at signing is $9,016. So let's go ahead and get an effective monthly payment on this Tesla Cybertruck. So what we'll do is we'll take the due at signing amount of $9,016. We'll divide this by 72 to break it into 72 equal parts. And then what we'll do is we'll add the monthly payment of $1,350 to that amount. And you get an effective monthly payment if you finance this vehicle for 72 months of $1,475. And if you remember when I did the leasing numbers, the effective lease payment on the Tesla Cybertruck was $1,396. So as you can see here, when you finance this Cybertruck, you're looking at an effective monthly payment about $100 more a month. Now, if you qualify for the $7,500 commercial clean vehicle credit, and if I include that, that reduces the monthly payment to $1,246. So if I did this again, and I took the $9,016, divided it by 72, added the $1,246, you get an effective monthly payment of $1,371, which is lower than the effective monthly payment when you leased it of $1,396. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the Tesla Cybertruck is depreciation. So if you know Like if I were shopping for this Tesla Cybertruck, this is how I would think about it. I would say, hey, do I want to keep this car for 3 years or do I want to keep it for longer? If this is a purchase that, hey, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to keep this Tesla Cybertruck for 6, 7, 8, 9 years, then I'm going to finance it. All right, that's kind of that just makes a lot of financial sense. But if I only plan on keeping this truck 3 to 4 years, then I'm going to lease it. And the reason I would lease it is because I get downside protection, right? So what's going to happen is if you buy this truck, let's say it's like $97,000 for the all-wheel drive or $87,000, excuse me, after taxes, everything's all said and done. And after 3 years, what's going to happen is this car is going to depreciate at a faster rate, at least in my opinion, than anticipated. Essentially, what Tesla is saying the residual value is going to be on this truck is higher than what the resale value is going to be in 3 years. So if that makes sense, what I'm saying is over the course of 3 months, when you factor in your finance payments and the additional depreciation, you could potentially have negative equity. I think you'd end up paying more for the Tesla Cybertruck if you financed it, if you kept it 3 to 4 years, and you'd end up paying less for the Cybertruck if you leased it for 3 years. So I think it really comes down to how long you plan on keeping this Tesla Cybertruck, and also factor in the $7,500 EV tax credit. Like if you don't qualify for the $7,500 EV tax credit, I think that plays a big role into whether you finance it or not, because when you lease it, you get that $7,500 EV tax credit. But when you finance it, it depends on what you make, your annual income, your adjusted AGI, adjusted gross income. So I hope this video is helpful. In a nutshell, if you want to keep it like 3 to 4 years, I think leasing it makes more sense. That's what I would do. But if you plan on keeping this Tesla Cybertruck long term, I think financing it makes a lot of sense. But I do think there are some better alternatives in terms of leasing. Like you can get the F-150 Lightning at a much better rate. The Hummer leases much better, like in terms of value. Like the Hummer and F-150 Lightning, you can get 1% lease deals on those. And this is sitting at 1.74%. So, there really isn't a black or white answer. But if you really like the Cybertruck, I would just consider those things. And I hope this video is helpful in helping you make the right decision. Now, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's something I missed, or if you need some more clarification, just leave me drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. But with that, I'm going to call it a video. Thank you all for watching. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.